What is up, basketball sickos? Today I'm going to be talking about the 6'7" senior forward out of Cal Berkeley, Chris Bell. Chris Bell has been an interesting draft prospect to me this cycle, as he seems to be overlooked by many draft boards so far this year, but I personally see him as the ideal second round pick. First off, I think it's important to distinguish the importance of the second round of the NBA draft by shining a light on the types of players that are drafted in this range. Looking at the most successful second round picks of the modern generation, we can find that teams typically draft for role players that will raise their team's floor rather than taking swings for their future superstars the way that they would do in the first round. So when you pair that with the fact that the NBA is now leaning towards a more fluid three-man action offense with an increased need for two off-ball shooters at all times and switchable, well-sized defenders, you can easily come to the conclusion that Chris Bell perfectly fits this trend for the ideal mold of a modern NBA role player. Through the first month of the college basketball season, Chris Bell has been possibly the most appealing pure shooting prospect so far. Looking into some basic statistics, Bell has started the year 19 of 42 from beyond the arc and has shot 12 of 16 from that range in his 2 games versus top 100 teams in the nation. Although these numbers could be viewed as a statistical outlier given the small sample size, this is where we value something called I think a great game to break down from Bell was his game versus Kansas State, in which he showed off a great depiction of his play style in just the starting minutes. He got this game rolling with a confident three to put Cal on the board, and you can visually see here just how fundamental his jumper really is. As he has squared feet and shoulders, he rises all in one motion and lands with his feet together. Now, we're going to check out Bell's relentless motor on defense, as he stays fully engaged with all parts of his body while chasing the offensive player through this play. And while this isn't necessarily a flashy highlight play, it is still important to note the tenacity in which Bell defended all of these offensive motions. Now here, we'll see both a positive and negative for Bell, as he successfully goes through this flare screen action and ends up in a pick and roll situation, but he makes the wrong decision and proves why he's not an offensive initiator. Although Bell is no offensive initiator, he still knows when and how to get a bucket for himself. As here, he perfectly attacks this closeout by clearing the defender's top foot and then reads the defense correctly and stops his dribble, quickly missing a small window for an assist, but then feels the pressure fade and calls on his own number. And for the rest of the first half, Bell would fade into the background, but continue to show off simple, tangible habits that are important for off-ball shooters. As the second half went on, Bell continued to prove his worth more so as a defensive pest than as a primary offensive weapon. For example here, Bell must actively recover on defense after leaving his man to pressure a big man, but he recovers amazingly and finishes his possession with great effort. Bell would end this game on his best minutes played and helped Cal go on a 33-point near comeback in the last 5 minutes of this game and poured in 15 points himself during that time, as he hit contested threes whenever Cal called upon him, and he finished the game with 27 total points and 7 of 9 from 3. Now that we've looked into some stats and film, we've found that Bell is a highly efficient perimeter scorer at great volume who is able to far outperform what would be expected out of a relatively low usage forward. Bell's shooting not only passes the eye test, but shows up well on stat sheets from three-point range, the free throw line, and when he capitalizes on play finishing at the rim, in which he shoots 67.5%. Bell doesn't just play a standard perimeter-focused game. He has also shown that he performs best on the biggest stages all throughout his whole college career, having statistical jumps in points per game, offensive rating, and usage rating in these games. And over the past 2 seasons, his three-point percentage has also seen a jump in these games. In summary, Chris Bell is an outstanding shooter who plays his role to perfection and has an exceptional ability to finish inside the arc plays when needed and connect from the free throw line at an even higher efficiency than his already highly efficient three-ball. On the defensive end, Bell has an ideal frame with potential to add strength and is an intelligent and very quick and active defender while on and away from the point of attack. Rebounds, assists, and defensive stocks straight up aren't a part of his game by any means, and it just may not need to be due to his play style. Finally, my deeper thinking into why Bell will make his way to the NBA next year is because of the simple demand for this type of player going into the future, as all 30 associations could use a player like this off the bench, and I haven't seen any reason yet for every team to pass on him 2 different times next June. Thanks for sticking around and watching to the end. Please like and sub if you've made it this far, and I'll see y'all in the next one.